You know, lately there's seems to be more and more videos when it comes to the dog training world out there popping up, where you see these, especially young trainers who really think they know more than they do, going really, really hard on dogs, physically really hard, just shit that just makes my stomach curl watching. And they really think they're accomplishing something, and then they have this God complex where they always resort to, would you rather the dog be euthanized? Well, I tell you what, they're young idiots. It's not either or. Like, one has nothing to do with the other. If you try to justify what you're doing to these animals because you're the savior to all, and if you don't step in and do what you do, this dog's gonna die, you're in the wrong line of work. You need to go be a Walmart greeter or something on that level. You shouldn't be dealing with animals. I am grateful that more and more people are stepping up and starting to expose these people, starting to share the videos, starting to talk about them, you know, because what's scary though is the fact that a lot of these videos that come up are split down the middle, 50-50, meaning 50% of the people out there are appalled by what they're seeing. But then there's all kinds of people out there having that same kind of mentality. Oh, would you rather the dog be put down? You're an idiot if you think like that. Like, it's absolutely insane. You know, listen, I posted a lot of videos a few years back, like 4 years ago. Very difficult dog, big, powerful, scary dog that was supposed to be euthanized, right, for human aggression. I showed everything from start to finish with what I did with that dog. And I never once even came close to putting that kind of pressure on that dog. You guys saw everything. I filmed it for a reason. But one of the first videos I made, what I said was, imagine the video that I could have made with that dog by putting a little extra pressure on him for the camera. Which, by the way, he didn't need no extra pressure, right? You guys, many of you watched the whole thing daily. He didn't need extra pressure. But imagine if I would have put some pressure on him, you know, had him on a tie back, or, you know, someone have him in a pen or a crate and approach and stare and make eye contact and just watch him be a savage, and then just show the after videos later on of what he became. That's what people do today. That's what they do every day. And it's unnecessary. Unnecessary. When you have a dog in a muzzle, in a crate, every tool under the sun, and you're on top of this dog, and you're handling this dog, you're so far off from what that dog needs, it's not even funny. And you really think you're doing something. That's what's scary. But what's scarier is the amount of people that think you're doing something. You know, listen, years ago, I used to be very hands-on with dogs like that wanted to hurt humans. And when I say hands-on, I don't mean like the jerk-offs we see today. I mean, like, I would handle the dog in a muzzle on a leash, and if the dog came up at me, I would protect myself, right? But I didn't do no dumb shit to try to show the dog who's boss and knock it around and, you know, poke it in its ribs and choke it out and alpha roll it and all this dumb shit that we see people doing. I never did any of that kind of stuff. But after dealing with those kind of dogs year after year after year, there was one video that blew up in a positive way. You know, it was a very difficult human aggressive dog. And again, was supposed to be put down. And it was the first dog I ever said to the owners before, I don't know if we could fix this. I don't know if I could do it. That's what I told them. I said, I'll do my best and I'll stay with you as long as I have to, but I don't know if I could turn this dog around. I was being very honest. Well, I did turn that dog around very quickly. As a matter of fact, after the third private lesson, things changed very rapidly, you know. And then you guys that watched a lot of those videos, you see that dog at a group class, interacting, being happy, no muzzle, no nothing, hugging on him and kissing him, and He went on to live a really good life, wound up going to doggy daycare, and not that I'm in favor of that, but he was able to. But when I was watching the videos back, and I felt this while I was doing it, I was tired of all the stress on the dog and myself to get through to it. Even though I was never heavy-handed, it was still a lot of physical interaction and extremely stressful for me and the dog. And so the very next dog after I went to work after that one, and I did show a lot of the videos, was again a human aggressive and dog aggressive dog. And I was just like, I just don't have this in me today. And I said, we're gonna do something different. And this young couple, and I wrote a lot about this, I showed the videos, this young couple, they lived in an apartment complex, so it was even that much more difficult because of the aggression, right? They're in an apartment complex, but there was a tennis court on the apartment complex. And I said, you go in there, you go in the tennis court with the dog, I'm gonna help you, and I'm gonna coach you through our first session from out here where the dog's not stressed. We're not gonna put him under any stress. You know, and that first session went fantastic. I was like, oh man, this was actually very enjoyable. And then I came back for the second session, and we started off in the tennis court, and then we got him out, and we did a lot of the same things with me, with them, a lot closer, but still not putting the dog under any stress. And listen, I'm not saying that we shouldn't put dogs under stress. Stress is necessary, right? But there's a time and a place for it. And we did that whole second lesson, again with me doing a lot of the coaching, right? And I was like, man, this went well. Third lesson, we switched it up. I brought one of my dogs. We worked that way also. Total different scenarios. The dog did real well. There's a couple of videos on my YouTube channel that looks like they're mistakes. They're not supposed to be there, and they're really awful videos, right? But after that third lesson, that young couple brought that dog to one of my group classes. And in that video, you see me squatting down on my knees, and I'm talking to the group. And that dog was there with its owners, and that dog dragged the owner to get to me. And while I'm speaking, it's loving on me and kissing me, and the owner started filming, and she's hysterical crying, and people had no idea what was going on. And then she addressed the crowd. She said, you guys don't understand. Like, he's never touched this dog. Like, no one's ever touched this dog, and now this dog just wants to be with him. And it was mind-blowing to the owners, you know. And the very next video she posted, they were moving, and they have a couple of young guys in the apartment, the movers, and the dog's hanging out with them. And she made a video, and she's talking to the movers, going, you don't understand, this dog's never been able to be around people. That case went so well with me really backing off and not putting unnecessary pressure on that dog in the beginning, that I said, maybe it's just a fluke, so I'm going to do it again with the next human aggressive dog. And guess what? By session 3, I'm handling the dog, no issues. It's, oh man, that was great. Let me do it again. Maybe again. This is just these 2 dogs. And dog after dog after dog, I started seeing, even though I was getting really great, true, everlasting results, this changed everything. I enjoyed it more again. There were no stress up front on the dogs. And the speed on which these dogs were changing was mind-blowing. So after so many dogs, I said, I got to share this and I got to talk about it, you know, and I did. And more people started taking that route, and the feedback was the same. Like, holy crap, like, this was pretty amazing, you know what I mean? So listen, when you're a trainer with 5 years in, you really think you know a lot of shit. You really do, you know? You think you got it all. You don't need to learn anymore. At 10 years in, you know everything. You know it. You know the science, you know learning theory. You've trained a lot of dogs by year 10. Like, there's no doubt you know everything, and I was no different. But guess what? When you start working with the best in the world, and then you get to that 20-year mark, you realize you know shit. You know very little of what you need to know. I've been at this 28 years now, and I'm still a student. Now, a lot of people say that I'm a student, but I don't see it. Of course, there's people out there that are. but I'm still obsessed with learning and working and learning from the best, because that's necessary. Because this whole science behind dog training and how they learn and how they feel and their emotions, it's continuously changing and getting better and better and better, so that we could help difficult dogs with less and less pressure. And again, pressure is necessary, it's important, but not the way some of these young fools are using it. It's doing a lot of damage to the animals. It's doing a lot of damage to the industry. It really is. And it's getting out of control. It's getting out of control. But I'm glad that a lot of people are stepping up and starting to share these videos and call videos out. And listen, there are some people out there, there are a lot of young trainers out there that don't know that they're doing wrong. Like, you don't know what you don't know. And they truly want to do what's best for the animal. They just don't know, because who you work with and who you learn from early on is vital. It's vital. I know so many dog trainers that are very well established and have great careers, and they've been doing this for 20 years, 25 years, 15 years, whatever. And the truth is, they don't know nearly as much as they think. They think just because they have a lot of time in, that they're exceptional. And unfortunately, it's the hard truth is, many of them are not. I know people who are doing this way less than 10 years that are doing phenomenal work, beautiful, outstanding work, and truly, truly helping very difficult dogs, because they were educated by the right people. That's the difference. You could train dogs for 40 years, but if you learn from a trainer 40 years ago that was training a specific way, which was normal back then and never evolved, you're still going to be a shitbag trainer. Time alone doesn't make you great. Time and learning from great makes you great. So for the people out there that are exposing these douchebags that are doing this to animals, keep it up. It's important, you know, and I know not everybody wants to take that role on, but it is necessary. It's just necessary, because what's scary is, this is the stuff that they're showing. Imagine what they're not showing. Imagine what goes on behind closed doors if the shit that they're proudly posting is brutal. I mean, really think about that. You understand what I'm saying? I show everything I do for the most part, most everything, right? And I show the sloppy, ugly truth. I don't edit things, but you get to see it. But you get to see the dog's attitude and how they feel about themselves. And so the majority of my board and trains and most of my private lessons these days come from all over the country. They come from across the country at times. California, Washington, Oregon. That's crazy to me. And so when I get a call from California or Washington, something like that, or, you know, from across the country, I always try to discourage people from going out of their way to come to me, because I know great trainers all over the country, and I know plenty in California. And most of the times they don't want to hear it. They insist on coming. And so I'll always ask them, why? Why go through all that trouble to come to me? I've only gotten the same answer. I've never gotten a different answer from everyone and from anyone. It's always because we see how the dogs are with you, and they can't lie. That's important to people. So for you young trainers that are doing this 5 years, 10 years, and you think putting a muzzle on a dog and manhandling them and grappling with them and poking them around and choking them and pinning them on the ground is necessary to save their life, well, you're a fucking idiot. And I would love to do the same to you. I'd love to see you do that in front of me, because it wouldn't go well for you. I promise you, I don't give a fuck who you are. It's unnecessary, and these animals don't deserve that. I'm not a force-free trainer. I'm not some snowflake who thinks we can't tell our dogs no. I'm not anti-punishment. I'm very pro understanding punishment, which unfortunately, again, most of you do not. And there will be people who hear that statement now that will be calling their buddies that know me well and talk about how he's full of shit. He thinks he knows everything. I've heard it all, and I don't really give a fuck at this stage of my life. I'm set up pretty nicely. But I've always been honest. And I've lost many friends in this industry because of my honesty. Because if we're friends, I'm not going to lie for you. I'm just not going to do it. I'm always going to take the side of the animal, and the well-being of the animal comes first. So again, for you folks that are out there exposing these scumbags, treating these animals the way they're being treated, keep it up. Whatever side of the fence you fall on in dog training, I don't give a shit about any of that, right? I'm not on your side because you're a balanced trainer, and I'm not against you if you're a force-free trainer. I'm with you if the true well-being of the animal comes first. Train the way you want. Very few of us train exactly the same. A lot of ideas and different personalities out there. A lot of different ways of doing things. You understand? I could be your best friend and not agree with the way you train or train the same way. But if the well-being of the animal is something that's important to you and you're showing it and you're practicing that, then so be it. I'm good with it. I'll support you 100%. You understand? So I hope this gets out to some of these young idiots that are doing some really dumb shit. Find the right people to learn from, guys. Please, 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 please. It's important. Do better.